It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lipman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping to crying to potty training to choosing a preschool and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lipman.
Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you might be in. I am so happy you could tune in this morning. It's going to be a great show. My guest, Hindi Zeidman, will be with us in just a bit. We're going to talk about swaddling, crying babies, parenting, so much to talk about. But I have to say that this first sip of coffee is always the best if you're a coffee drinker. It's daylight savings has happened, and Arizona never changes, but it's 8 o'clock a.m. here in Arizona and 11 Eastern time. So wherever you're tuning in, thanks so much. First, I need to say happy spring. It's 2015. It was the first day of spring last Friday. And oh my gosh, the weather, I want to wish everyone lots of sunshine, no more snow. I can't believe people got a snowstorm. So whenever you're listening, it's 2015. There was a snowstorm last Friday back east. And anyway, no more snow. It's enough. But I have to say, in Arizona, we're going to have a heat wave. It's going to be in the high 90s this week. It's too soon, but I am not going to complain. You know what? I love the sunshine, and I have to say, when it comes out, get your little ones dressed. If it's still chilly, put their coats on, take them outside. I always loved playing the color game when my kids were toddlers. There's so much to see. We would walk and say, how many green things could you find? Of course, there are lots of green leaves, hopefully, in the springtime. Or how many pink flowers? It's a great way to teach them about colors. They get some of that wonderful vitamin D from the sunshine, great air, and they'll take a better nap. Anyway, so let's see what we have on the agenda today besides my wonderful guests. There were a couple of recalls, and if you go to my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, to the recall page, you will see them. The Spin-Right recalled Burnett Tizzy yarn. I know this is not a toy for a child, but many of you, especially grandparents, will knit a blanket, will make a sweater, and they recalled this because in the finished knit or crochet items, the yarn can unravel or snag and form a loop, and you know what? Your child can become entangled in it. Their little fingers can get stuck in it. So that's the Spin-Right Burnett Tizzy yarn. Also, Kids Corner recalled their sweatshirt zippers. They have hooded sweatshirts, and the zipper can detach. The pull can detach that little metal piece, I guess. That's not good because, everything goes in the mouth. Anyway, go to mybestparentingadvice.com. I have already put those recalls on, and as I say every week, if you are going to get some of those wonderful hand-me-downs, make sure they are not on the recall list, and if they are, call the company. I always add the websites and the emails and the phone numbers. Do not try to fix them yourself. Even though you think it'll be okay, you want to keep those little ones safe at all costs. So also, I wanted to tell you my other website, babyinstructions.com, is under construction, so you can't visit that now. Unfortunately, technology, I'll share this, it's so frustrating. One of the links broke and it messed up the whole site, so I'm working on that. But mybestparentingadvice.com is working. I have my great experts. I put blog posts on there. And I also am going to be blogging. I added my first blog to the Jewish Journal of Los Angeles. And the blog was 5 things to do when your toddlers embarrass you. So you can find that there, and you can also find it on my website. A couple things I wanted to share with stories. I could not believe this. There was an article about spanking babies. That's bad. That's my opinion, and it's bad. Why would you spank a baby? It says spanking babies is surprisingly common in the U.S. This study by the University of Michigan, it says the same hands that parents use lovingly to feed, clothe, and bathe their babies also commonly spank their bundles of joy. Why? Anyway, the study found that 30% of 1-year-old children were spanked at least once in the past month by their mother, father, or both parents, or even a caregiver. This is a long time topic of debate, as we all know. You know what? Years ago, parents spank their kids. Every family is different. I am not going to say what people should do in their own family, but for my family, I believe spanking is not good. You know what? This says that in the latest findings, spanking is used on children who have not even taken their first step. And this study was done only on 2,788 families who participated in this long study of new births in urban areas. It said spanking babies is particularly misguided and potentially harmful and may set off a cascade of inappropriate parental behavior. Their research is a snapshot of a larger problem, which we know that many people lack parenting skills. And you know what? It just sets up an issue for the future. And my opinion, I give my opinion. What are you teaching your child? If you spank your child, as they get older, what do they learn? It's okay to hit somebody else. That's my feelings, especially 1-year-old doesn't understand anyway. What this article did say, which made me very happy, is that they did get services involved, and they did make social services have home visits with these families when they could. But then again, if you get frustrated with your babies, with your toddlers, take a time out for yourself. I hate it, and I know my producer does when they say, or spare the rod, spoil the child. I mean, if you get frustrated, and we do get frustrated, toddlers have tantrums, babies won't stop crying. Put your baby in his or her crib. It's a safe space. Open the front door and take a breath of some air, or call a friend, or call your partner and say, you know what, I need help. If your toddler is having a tantrum, my favorite tip, whisper in their ear. Pretty much that will stop the tantrum. A toddler needs something when they have a tantrum, but that's another show. And if your toddler won't stop, turn around. They want you to pay attention. If there's no audience, they may stop. Or put your toddler in his or her room with a couple of books and get yourself together. Do not hit your children. My opinion. Don't hit them. Anyway, on to another subject that's tough as we're speaking about this. I wanted to share a few tips from my book, Help My Baby Came Without Instructions, which all parents should have after seeing this article, because there are no instructions. I have a chapter called Turning Off Those Tears, and we're going to talk about that with my guest this morning. But here are a few of my favorites when your baby just won't stop crying. First of all, go down the checklist. Make sure they don't need to burp, they're not hungry, they're not too hot, they're not too cold. Their little diaper isn't pinching them. Here are a couple of my favorites. You know what? If your baby won't stop crying and if you've gone down the list and they're just having a cranky time, walk outside. I can tell you if this fails, call me, because it's always worked. If they're just having a cranky day, it's new smells, it's something new to see, and it's like they go, whoa, wow, I think I'll forget to cry. Also, sing to your baby. Sometimes you can sing quietly, or you can also whisper in your baby's ear like the toddler if they're crying. And you can take a washcloth with some cool water, not ice cold, and wipe your baby's neck and cheeks and give him or her some hugs and see if you can't get them to stop crying. We all have cranky days. As adults, we don't walk around crying, at least most of the time. So try those tips. And also, I do need to say, with springtime here, lots of babies will be arriving, like the flowers. Check out my books, Help My Baby Came Without Instructions, More Help, and Help My Toddler Came Without Instructions. They make great baby gifts, and you can find them on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com. Even on Audible, you can get somebody a gift certificate to Audible, or go to my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. Just thought I'd add that. The book's really fun, easy to read. I put it in list form. Anyway, enough of that. Let's see. To swaddle or not to swaddle? That is the question. Well, I say yes, I love swaddling. I think it really helps babies, and I know my guest does. We're going to break for commercial in a bit, but I do want to tell you about her and see if we have time to say good morning before we have her share her information about this wonderful product called the Ollie Swaddle. I mean, she's an expert, and she knows how to swaddle and how to get babies to stop crying and schedules. Her name is Hindi Zeidman, and I do need to apologize. I kept calling her Zeldman. Her last name is Zeidman, so sorry, foot in the mouth right there. Anyway, she's the founder of the Ollie Swaddle, the cozy swaddling solution designed to decrease fussiness, assist in self-calming, and ultimately improve baby's quality and duration of sleep. As a parenting and baby expert, Hindi helps moms and dads navigate the ups and downs of parenting through her advice. She covers topics, with swaddling, how to soothe your baby, bedtime routines I want to talk about because I also share a lot of the same things, and I love to hear what other people say because every baby's different, every family's different, and there's not one right answer. There's all kinds of different things to try depending on your family. Also, I want to tell you, I know I use my dogs, and it's silly sometimes, but if you look on my video, it's on my YouTube channel, it's on Facebook. I actually swaddled my dog, Desi. He's so good. He got a treat. Don't worry. And I have to tell you, he was very cooperative. I do not swaddle my dog to calm him down, but I put it on the video because I wanted you to see this swaddle. It's the easiest thing ever, and I have to tell you, I'm going to have a grandson in May. You probably are sick of hearing me say that, but I can't wait to get this Ollie Swaddle for my grandson because it's perfect. It's easy. It's wonderful, and I sound like a commercial. So let me say good morning to Hindi before we break for our first commercial. Good morning, Hindi. Thanks for being on the show. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm honored to be part of the show. I'm doing wonderful, and I saw the video of you swaddling your dog.
Well,
I loved it. I've actually swaddled my dog before, too, so we're okay.
Oh, gosh, I'm good. I feel so much better because I thought, sometimes when I do these things for my guests, I think, please don't be insulted. You don't know me and my sense of humor.
No, I thought it was adorable.
Hey, the dog liked it. You know what? It was pretty funny, and everything I said, it's great. It's really an easy swaddle. We're going to have a break, so I don't want to get into too much before the first commercial, but I'm so excited you could be on the show. Where do you live?
I live in Upland, California.
Okay, so you know what? So you have good weather, but you're supposed to get heat too, I think.
Yes, yeah. It's like 70, 80 degrees right now.
I know. We're not going to complain. No complaint.
Yeah, I know. I can't say anything.
You look at all
Very
this
appreciative
snow.
of the weather.
I know. It's funny this year. Anyway, we will be right back.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Spark Your Soul Radio with Ann Phyllis. Perspectives with purpose. Insights with heart. The Woohoo Radio Network show for spiritual seekers and fire starters who are ready to stop feeling lost, alone, confused, or blocked and start tuning into your soul speak so you can ignite all areas of your world, from your work to your relationships, lifestyle to legacy. Host Ann Phyllis is a spiritual analyst, fire starter, energy alchemist, and soul truth clairvoyant. Using the heart and purpose-based principles of her signature Soul Sense system, Anne offers weekly wisdom for tuning in, letting go, unlocking, and unblocking. If you've been walking through life with excess baggage, a heavy heart, a feeling of disconnection from your inner life, consider Anne your guide to spark your soul journey and reignite your relationships, life, purpose, work, and spiritual consciousness. Every week on Spark Your Soul Radio, Anne takes you on a journey into the heart of your soul sense. There, she helps translate your energy, essence, and soul truth knowing into positive action and change. From this space of personal awakening and transformation, you're able to reignite your spirit, spark your soul, and live in alignment with your vision and values. Ready to spark your soul? Check out past shows by clicking on the podcast player. Got a question for Anne? Want to be a guest on her show? Visit sparkyoursoul.me and listen to Anne every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
This is the TogiNet Radio Network, radio with a cutting edge.
LinkedIn. It's a great tool and a great way to do business in today's social media-driven world. And Carol McManus is the LinkedIn Lady with the LinkedIn Lady Show, Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern on allbusinessradionetwork.com. The LinkedIn Lady Show is designed to inform, inspire, and educate businesses. Every social media site has a specific demographic, personality, and purpose. And the LinkedIn Lady will interview a variety of guests, such as business owners who can showcase their business and talk about how they use social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, Pinterest, and of course, LinkedIn. For more on Carol and the show, check out her website, LinkedInLady.com. As trends change and new applications become available, the LinkedIn Lady Show will bring that information to you in an easy-to-use, fun, and engaging way. Every Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern, it's the LinkedIn Lady Show with Carol McManus on allbusinessradionetwork.com.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. The hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am so happy you could tune in. My guest is Hindi Zeidman, and she has this terrific product called the Ollie Swaddle. And not only that, she's going to share suggestions for sleep schedules, and, we'll talk about nurseries. We have so much to talk about, but Hindi, tell my guest how the Ollie Swaddle was developed, because I think it's brilliant. I wish I could hold the picture up. It's not video radio, but that people have to go to your website and look, because it's brilliant.
Well, thank you so much. The Ollie Swaddle came out of me being a single foster parent for a little guy named Oliver. When he came to me, he was about 3 months old, but developmentally he was probably around 1 month. He was really struggling, and he was on the verge of failure to thrive because he wasn't eating and sleeping. And so he was at the risk of being hospitalized. And so I worked in the field with high-risk infants, and I had access to a pediatric neurodevelopmental psychologist. And so she was able to help me, and she really emphasized the importance of swaddling. So I think I went out and I probably bought every swaddle on the market to see if anything would help him, and nothing helped. Nothing.
There's so many. There's so many.
And there are so many different swaddles out there, and nothing worked. So I was kind of left up to my own devices, and I created something that could fully contain him from his shoulders to his feet. Once he was able to be fully contained is when he started sleeping through the night, then he started eating. We were able to develop an attachment and start bonding, and then the developmental milestones started to kick in. So since then, I've been, developing this product and, in honor of him, wanting to share this with everyone.
Well, I just think it's brilliant. And we were talking during the break because I live in Arizona, and, there was a time when I was teaching classes and parents were saying, no, the hospital won't let us swaddle the babies. And when you see, for years we see on TV, the parent gets the baby and it's swaddled. And I always used to joke, I always used to say, you know what, the baby is born with a swaddle, and once you unswaddle it, you don't have a clue how to get it back on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, we do promote skin to skin. We absolutely wholeheartedly believe in that. We promote the swaddling for sleeping and for use of calming. Other than that, we believe in activity and bonding and playing and skin to skin.
Well, it's so important, and it's not an instead of. That's what parents have to understand. You don't have to, during the day, you don't even have to swaddle your baby. If it works, swaddle them at night or when they take a nap. But talk a little bit about the hip dysplasia, because that was the issue. They were saying that swaddling a baby can cause hip dysplasia because it's too tight, and there were all sorts of things. They since have changed it, and they've said that you shouldn't swaddle your baby you should swaddle the baby for 6 weeks. And I know, in my field, I swaddled a baby. In fact, I'll never forget, I had one baby. It was a little boy, and he was kind of little, and he wouldn't take a nap until he was swaddled. He was 9 months old. So,
absolutely. With the Moro reflex, which is the startle reflex, I know that can last up to 6 months.
Explain that to my listeners, because not everybody knows what the Moro reflex is.
So that's the startle reflex, and that's one of the biggest things that, can startle the baby and cause them to wake up. And so by swaddling the limbs, that reduces the startle reflex and helps them to continue with their sleep process.
Right. And when, it's almost like something scares the baby, and they may flail their arms just for a second. And I've had parents say to me, what's wrong with the baby? And there's nothing. You know what? It's part of the nervous system, and it's a reflex. But you're right, swaddling really helps. And, the hip dysplasia, you talked about the fact that your swaddle stretches, which is great.
Thank you. Yeah, there were two main things that we really wanted to focus on when developing the swaddle. So the first one was the overheating, and the second one was the hip dysplasia. So the fabric it's a custom fabric that we actually made, so it's moisture wicking. So it actually reduces the risk of overheating since these little ones get so hot. It's a really nice fabric that helps to reduce that. And then it's a stretch material, and you can do a customized fit with the Velcro, and this reduces the risk of hip dysplasia. Research is saying that if you swaddle incorrectly and there's constraint on the hips, that can lead to hip problems.
Well, it's not going to happen with yours. What do you say? What do you think about the arms? I can say from my experience, it seems to me that more male babies do not like their arms in, and you can swaddle with the arms out. What have you found?
What we really say is it's individualistic. It's really, I leave it up to the mom, to the dad, to the caregiver, what they think is best. I would never push my beliefs. I always like to support, what the parents think is best. But with the customized fit, you can really do different type of arm positions. So you can also do a transition with one or both arms out. So, for instance, when baby begins to roll from back to stomach, instead of stopping the swaddle or using like a sleep sack, you can continue to use the Ollie by taking one or both arms out.
And that's really good, because parents will say all the time, first of all, it's tough to swaddle if somebody doesn't show you, and there are a number of different ways to swaddle. And so many times the baby will kick themselves out of the swaddle. And, basically, this is what I tell my parents. When you bring the baby home and they're used to being in this small space in your womb, the swaddle simulates it, and they like having the compactness of the blanket around them. And I know many parents will say, my baby doesn't like to be swaddled, and I'll kind of show them a different way, and maybe the baby doesn't like his or her arms in, or, some cross the arms. As we say, it's all individual, whatever you think. But, it's such an adjustment, not only for mom, but for the baby. Here they were in this small space, and all of a sudden it's gigantic, and it's different temperature, and there's noises. And so, if you can make it calmer by swaddling them, I'm all for it. I would always swaddle a baby. And also the other thing with your Ollie is that it's got a little piece of elastic on the bottom, because the babies kick themselves out with their feet first. And this little piece of elastic, you can change a diaper with the swaddle on, can't you? By doing the elastic?
Absolutely. Middle of the night, if you need to do a diaper change and you don't want to unswaddle your little one, it's perfect. This is probably one of the best features that our parents seem to love, is not having to wake baby to do the diaper change.
And we're going to talk about this a little more. We're going to talk about middle of the night and going in. But I have to say, the less you do in the middle of the night, the better off you are. If you start turning lights on and singing and talking, baby doesn't know what time it is, so they'll go, oh, time to get up. So
right,
the less...
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They're stimulated, and then you have to go through a whole sleep process to get them back to sleep.
And even with... I'm not putting down any of the other swaddling things, the swaddling blankets, but you know what? The less you do, if you don't have to take something all the way off when you have to change a baby's diaper in the middle of the night, and you keep it nice and quiet. I have, when I do my workshops, I don't know if you've ever seen this little light. It looks like a book light, and you put it on your nightgown or whatever you wear to sleep, and you just turn it on, and it kind of shines, so you don't have to turn anything else on. So, less is best in the middle of the night.
Absolutely, and our parents are tired. It's the middle of the night, and we just want it to be simple and easy for everybody. Parents, babies, everyone. Especially
this first couple months. I mean, you come home from the hospital, the adrenaline's pumping, you're looking at this beautiful baby thinking, where did this baby come from? How did I get this baby? You're not quite sure because it's so exciting. I remember looking at my daughter saying, did this baby really come from me? And then once things calm down and you realize that you're up every 3 hours and it catches up to you, along with everything else you think you're supposed to be doing with company, I mean, you know what? You are tired.
Absolutely.
You really are tired. Did the baby that you took care of, was he up all the time before you developed this?
Yeah, Oliver really struggled with sleep. He was actually drug exposed, and so it really affected his muscle tone, the particular drug that he was exposed to. So he did not sleep at all. He was constantly kicking.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so, when he was finally able to be contained and he got that, pressure all the way from shoulders to feet, then his body was able to relax.
Wow. Well, you're just great. You're just great to do that.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Please.
I mean, what an amazing thing to do for a baby. I think it's wonderful.
He was amazing. He was the most amazing little boy. He absolutely changed my life.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. Well, we're going to go for a commercial break, and when we come back, I wanted to talk to you about sleep routines and nap times and dimmers and white noise machines. There's so many things that we can do, as parents that you don't know and you're not supposed to know.
Right.
Anyway, we'll be right back. Hang in there.
We'll be right back with more help. For help, my baby came without instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Spark Your Soul Radio with Ann Phyllis. Perspectives with purpose. Insights with heart. The Woohoo Radio Network show for spiritual seekers and fire starters who are ready to stop feeling lost, alone, confused, or blocked and start tuning into your soul speak so you can ignite all areas of your world, from your work to your relationships, lifestyle to legacy. Host Ann Phyllis is a spiritual analyst, fire starter, energy alchemist, and soul truth clairvoyant. Using the heart and purpose-based principles of her signature Soul Sense system, Ann offers weekly wisdom for tuning in, letting go, unlocking, and unblocking. If you've been walking through life with excess baggage, a heavy heart, a feeling of disconnection from your inner life, consider Ann your guide to spark your soul journey and reignite your relationships, life, purpose, work, and spiritual consciousness. Every week on Spark Your Soul Radio, Ann takes you on a journey into the heart of your soul sense. There, she helps translate your energy, essence, and soul truth knowing into positive action and change. From this space of personal awakening and transformation, you're able to reignite your spirit, spark your soul, and live in alignment with your vision and values. Ready to spark your soul? Check out past shows by clicking on the podcast player. Got a question for Ann? Want to be a guest on her show? Visit Spark Your Soul.
It's words you never heard.
If you're like me, every year you wonder how you're going to dispose of your live Christmas tree. In the desert climate around Reno, Nevada, Christmas trees that are left outside won't decompose. They will just get drier and drier, eventually becoming a serious fire hazard. Vince Thomas, the founder of Goat Grazers, a goat herding business, is now using his 40 goats to help recycle Christmas trees. Hey, I'm not kidding. We all know goats are known to eat just about anything. Thomas used dendrology, or the study of trees, to discover the trees are a natural dewormer for goats, and the pine is very high in vitamin C, so it's healthy for them as well. What's a word for the pine needles that fall off a Christmas tree? Diddle-dees.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and Words You Never Heard has been brought to you by the Bariatric Surgery Center of Dallas.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am here with my wonderful guest, Hindi Zeidman, and we were talking about the Ollie Swaddle, which is terrific. If you have a new baby or you're going to have a new baby, I think swaddling is the key to calming them down, having them sleep better. And we're going to talk all about other things with a new baby. For instance, how do you know what to do with the temperature? I mean, in Arizona, it gets to be 110, 115, and I've seen parents bundle their babies up in so many layers that they're crying. Because it's hard to tell. You know, you turn the air conditioner on, you think they're going to be freezing. But
absolutely.
You know what?
It's very difficult, especially right now, you know, between East Coast and West Coast. The weather temperature is so completely different. It's hard to know what's right and what is best to do for your little one.
You know, my rule of thumb to tell parents is if you're hot, they're probably hot. If you're cold, they're probably cold, unless they're preemie, unless they have a cold. You know, if there's other extenuating circumstances. Also, years ago, there was a baby store, and they carried this. It was a thermometer you put in the room, and it changed colors. If it was too hot, it would be red. If it was too cold, it would be green. And I always used to joke about it. I used to say, you know what, this is more for the mother and father, because so many times they get up in the middle of the night and go, I'm hot, I'm turning the air conditioner up, I'm turning it down anyway.
Absolutely, that's like Pavlov. Get there, the signal.
Also, if you touch the baby's nose, what I found too, and this is not from a study, it's just my personal thing that I found in over 35 years. It seems that little boys tend to get warmer than little girls, and they'll be perspired behind their neck. I'm touching my neck, and if you look on their nose, you'll see the little beads of perspiration if they're too bundled up. And you know what? Just check the room. Especially in the middle of the summer, you know, you don't have to bundle them up in undershirts and sleep sacks and blankets and everything because you have the air conditioner on. You know, you want to get them used to. But the first month, you're not quite sure. You know, a lot of babies come home and you keep a cap on them because they may be tiny. But you can get some information, you know, from the nurses or the pediatrician about that. Also,
and we always say, you know, consult with your pediatrician, you know, first. We don't give medical advice, but, you know, if it's a good temperature for you, you know, it most likely will be a good temperature for your little one. And because of the Ollie Swaddle is a moisture-wicking fabric, we recommend just a onesie and a diaper. And as long as it's a comfortable temperature, that should be sufficient.
Also, you know, between 65 and 70 is a pretty good temperature for all of us. And babies are no different, again, unless they're little. You know, you sleep better when it's cooler. It's tough to sleep when you're hot.
Absolutely. And the little ones run hot, so that is absolutely a great temperature.
Also, what about the lighting? You know, not everybody has a dimmer, and I was talking about that silly thing you put on your nightgown which may not be so silly. What do you think about lighting and nursery lights?
It again, it's individualistic, but, when you turn on the lights, baby can think that it's daytime. So you really want to help regulate the baby's system by mimicking the nocturnal sense. That nighttime, that dark is for sleeping. So by having a dimmer and not having to turn on the light and create stimulation and further wake up the baby, that can be of great assistance.
Also, I'll have parents tell me too, but what about the daytime nap? They may have blackout shades or something like that. I always say when it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep. They're not going to really think it's nighttime. It doesn't have to be pitch black during the day, but I wouldn't leave the shades wide open. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, one of the important things is really routine and repetition. If baby is on a really good schedule and they know, 10 o'clock comes, the swaddle's on, it's time to sleep, it's just part of the routine. So, even if there is some sun coming in, they're still regulated that it's 10 o'clock in the morning and it's nap time.
Absolutely. I mean, my favorite word, consistency, not just for babies.
I love that word too.
Not just for babies, even for us. It's so much easier when we're on a schedule.
Yes, I love, repetition and routine. Those are good. And consistency. Great words.
Last week, my guest was Paula Rizzo. She wrote a great book called Listful Thinking, and it was all about making lists. New moms making lists. If you're not a mom, you're grandma, grandpa, whatever. And It was the same thing. We always go back to consistency. If you have your list, and it's almost like a list. Putting the baby on the schedule is your list. Baby eats at this time. Baby sleeps at this time. I was talking to a new grandma this past week, and the baby is 3 months old, and she basically told me that the baby is sleeping through the night. It's a little girl, and they feed her like clockwork every 3 hours during the day. And I had my OBGYN tell me that. She had twins, and she said the same thing. She said, babies get most of their calories during the day. And she swore if you wake your babies up every 3, or if they're a 4-hour baby during the day, even though they're sleeping, and feed them, that they'll sleep better at night.
Absolutely. If little ones, if they get the right amount of sleep, they're more regulated in their awake state. And so this allows for the facilitation of their caloric intake. So absolutely everything that you were saying. If they're getting the right amount of sleep, then they can consume the right amount of calories, and it's kind of that cycle that continues.
You know what? It's true, and I know it's tough to wake up a sleeping baby. It really is. People will say never wake up a sleeping baby. But again, you can, as long as the baby isn't a preemie, check with your pediatrician. This is not a medical show. As we said,
absolutely.
We're not doctors.
First and foremost, consult with your pediatrician. And we would never go against, what your pediatrician suggests.
Absolutely. Also, let's talk a little bit about smaller is sometimes better. I mean, babies, again, are used to this safe, protected space in the womb, and they come out, and a lot of times parents, will say the baby doesn't like to be swaddled, and they'll just put him in the crib, and to me, it's like being in the middle of the ocean.
It's true. It's true. There's such comfort and soothing when the baby is in the womb and they're in such a tight, contained place that it's such a, I don't want to say traumatic, but it's such, a new event when they come out into the world. So the swaddling and the containment really helps that transition from womb to the outside world.
Another tip, too, that I've shared with my parents is if you're not going to put your new baby, a lot of parents will have the new baby in their room in a bassinet, in a basket. Years ago, many, many years ago, moms, grandparents, grandmas used to put their babies in a drawer to sleep. You'll see from a lot of years ago. And it was small, and I used to laugh. But the baby liked it. It was small. They don't know if it's a crib or it's a drawer, whatever it is. Certainly we wouldn't do that today.
Right.
But when I've had parents that have come to me with babies that have a hard time sleeping in their crib, and that's where they go in the crib, I've had them put the baby up in one of the corners of the crib, so they're almost touching one of the sides, and not with bumpers, because again, there's pros and cons about having bumpers. We do have the breathable bumpers now, and that's also helped because babies are used to, having something touching them on all sides.
Right.
Also, you don't want to miss your baby's sleepy cues. Maybe not so much the first month you're getting to know each other and the cries and everything else, but they have definite sleepy cues, don't they?
Absolutely. I think from the beginning, babies are trying to convey their needs through cues. And that's in all aspects, with feeding and overstimulation and sleeping. And, it's really hard to know this being a new parent unless, the information is provided to them. And I don't think that a lot of people are providing the necessary information. So this is great that you were doing that.
And it's interesting. If you're a new mom, you're not going to know your baby's sleepy cues, crying cues the first week, the first 2 weeks. Everybody's in shock. Everybody's getting to know each other. Baby's getting to know the world. And, yes, they are conveying. Maybe they're hungry. Maybe they're tired. Whatever they are. Don't beat yourself up if you don't get them right away. It takes a couple weeks to come down, just from the high of being a new mom and trying to set up that consistent routine. But as you get more into it, you'll be able to see, some babies touch their heads. Babies are very tactile. If they have hair, they may be touching their hair. They may be pulling their ears. And it's try it. It's trial and error. If you think your baby's sleepy and you're not quite sure, you can try putting him or her down. And if they're not, I guarantee you they'll let you know. And maybe it's something else.
And above all, we like to just come from a point of view where we want to tell the parents they're doing amazing. We encourage them wholeheartedly, and no matter what, we're proud of them. This is not an easy thing to do.
Absolutely. There's no right answer. There's no right or wrong. You just listen to your gut. Try it. You love the baby. You know what? And if something doesn't work, try something else, because every baby's different.
And some babies are just easier than others. It doesn't mean that the parents are doing anything wrong.
Parents are great.
Absolutely.
I've been doing this for over 35 years, and there's nothing better than being with a new parent and seeing the smile when they've done something that they said, look what I did. But you're all great parents. Anyway, we will be right back. We're going to have a break. Stay with us, and when we come back, we are going to talk more to Hindi Zeidman.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Are you fascinated by the stories behind the stories, the people behind their masks, the truth about people's failures and redemptions in both their business and personal lives? Then Off the Record Secrets Of with host Judy Schreiner is for you. It's people's secrets that make them interesting, but very few folks are willing to reveal them unless they trust that their information will be treated with accuracy, fairness, and respect. People have been entrusting their secrets to longtime business journalist Judy Schreiner for the last 25 years, and now she's bringing her expertise and impressive contact list. Tune in and call in as host Judy Schreiner talks to guests off the record as they reveal new secrets each Tuesday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. This is the TogiNet Radio Network, broadcasting quality programming to the world. This is God in Country, the collision of faith and politics, hosted by nationally known speaker, Reverend Dr. Sean Michael Greener. Not your typical Rev. Dr. Sean is a proud military veteran, former law enforcement officer, and founder of the internationally regarded Executive Protection Team. Dr. Sean holds a bachelor's degree in biblical counseling and master's and doctorate degrees in theology, and is currently pursuing a doctorate in ministry with a Hebrew worldview focus. Through his counseling, elite life coaching, and national speaking, this ninja pastor tells it like it is. This series is biblically and politically engaged with the pedal to the metal. Join host and author of the acclaimed yet controversial book, Excellence Killed the Church, How Mediocrity is Destroying America, Dr. Sean Michael Greener, every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this radio network.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Welcome back. I cannot believe we're up to the last part of the show. This goes so fast. I'm here with my wonderful guest, Hindi Zeidman. She has invented the Ollie Swaddle, and she has so many great tips for getting your baby to sleep, to stop crying. Anyway, Hindi, I do want to ask you now before we forget, where can my listeners find you, your website? Where can they get the Ollie Swaddle?
Absolutely. They can go on to our website. It's www.theollieworld.com, and they can purchase the Ollie Swaddle through our website. We're also available on Amazon and Bluefly.
That's great to hear, and I will put all of Zindi's information on my website and also the podcast link once it's up. So if you haven't listened to the show or you want to share it with your friends or your family, you can do that. It will stay on there. It's also on iTunes and it's on another place called Stitcher.com, which has all the podcasts. That's another great site. But anyway, I didn't ask you about this. I've heard that swaddling your baby makes it safer, and talk a little bit about SIDS, that it lowers the risk of SIDS.
So one of the scary things about SIDS is they just really don't understand exactly what happens. They have, guesses as to overheating, or if there is, there's blankets or stuffed animals that can lead to baby not being able to breathe. So with the swaddle, that really helps to eliminate the use of blankets. It helps to keep baby on his or her back, which is supposed to be the ideal placement for the baby rather than on their stomach. So the swaddle helps to, eliminate and promote safe sleeping habits.
And always, always put your baby to sleep on his or her back, because the Back to Sleep campaign is so important. I know years ago, both of my children slept on their stomachs, and, once they start rolling over, the pediatricians say you do not have to run in there and roll them back, that when they roll back and forth, it's okay, but when they first start rolling over, I see parents go in the baby's room so many times. But again, check with your pediatrician. But most of the pediatricians that I've spoken with have said once they roll over, they're okay. They're heavy enough to be safe. So
we always say, of course, check with your pediatrician. And if the little ones are going to be swaddled, while they're able to roll over, of course, to take one or both arms out for safety precautions.
That's a really good tip. The thing that I'll never forget this, when they first figure out how to stand up in their crib. Make sure you have the mattress all the way down, but when they first start standing up in the crib, then you do have to go in there because they don't know how to get back down.
Absolutely.
And hopefully they'll do that
That's a great developmental milestone, too.
Sure is, but hopefully they'll practice during the day and not at 2 o'clock in the morning when they're supposed to be sleeping.
After they wake up from a nice nap.
Let's talk a little bit about bedtime routine. Do you have a favorite bedtime routine?
Yeah, just kind of what we were talking about before, routine and repetition and consistency, really regulating, your little one so they know that sleep time is coming. So whether that looks like, taking a bath, changing into pajamas or a onesie, but really regulating that this is the time where sleep is going to come. It really helps the baby's system understand what it looks like.
And pick something that you can live with. I'll have parents that have had routines and it'll take an hour. And sometimes it's too much, not because it's the hour, but then your baby gets overstimulated and they don't really know whether they're supposed to go to sleep or play or what they're supposed to do. Keep it small. Keep it short enough, to make it a routine. Also, if you have a brand new baby, you can start a routine from the beginning. Something as simple as, holding the baby skin to skin or rocking the baby or singing a song or whatever you want. I'll tell parents this, and I have seen them go, I'm not doing this. But if you have a favorite little song or lullaby that the baby likes, sing to your baby. I've had parents that I've told to record their voice singing the lullaby, and they're going, I'm not doing that. Somebody's going to hear. You know what? You don't have to play it for anybody. But if that's what your baby likes and it's calming, it's really easy. With all our iPhones, we can make a video or an audio recording of our voice singing. And I will tell you what, new parents, you don't know this, but if your baby is having a cranky day and that's what calms them down, turn on the music. Turn it on.
Absolutely.
And it will calm them down. Also, for white noise, there's so many white noise machines, and I'm a really big advocate of the sounds of the womb in the beginning. What do you think?
Yeah, it's really individual for each baby. Some babies could be stimulated by it. Some babies, it's very soothing. We really like to support the parents in what they think is best and to really recognize what baby responds to.
And again, there's no right or wrong. You know what?
Absolutely.
The one thing that I like about either the white noise machine, the womb sounds, whatever it is, the thing that I like about it, whatever you get your baby used to when they go to sleep, if you're going to travel, if you're going to go to grandma's, if summer's coming, maybe you're going to take a trip, it's really easy to take a white noise machine or whatever noise it is with you. And if you stay at a hotel, one of the tough things, if you're going to be staying at a hotel, not everybody is so quiet outside in the hallway. They don't have babies. So if you have that white noise that the baby's used to, or even I like playing lullabies without words. And the reason I say without words is because you will have that song in your head for the next 3 days, and it's going to drive you nuts as a parent. If you play
so funny. That's true. Absolutely.
If you play a nice soothing lullaby or even classical music, that's easy to take with you so the baby won't wake up when maybe somebody's coming out of an elevator or they're really noisy in the hallway. But whatever you set up, again, as Indy and I said, it's all about routine and being consistent. And that's what's important. There's no right or wrong. Just enjoy your babies. They grow up so fast.
Absolutely, and enjoy the moment and know that you're doing a good job.
I'm so happy that you keep saying that because it's great. You are doing a good job, and there's no right or wrong.
Absolutely.
Just love that baby. I do want to ask you something, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'll ask you, and you can say you don't know. I know you fostered Ollie. Do you have a favorite parent tip besides swaddling that you like to do with a baby?
Favorite tip, mean like interaction with Oliver and myself?
Anything that you really like to do that another parent might find helpful that they could do with their baby besides swaddling?
One of the best things that I know for Oliver was tummy time. That was probably one of the best things that I knew I could do for him, was doing the tummy time, helping to build his core and his muscles, and that started, the process down with developmental milestones. That was probably one of the best things that I could do.
I love that because parents will say, my baby doesn't like tummy time. You can do tummy time a lot of different ways. You do not have to do it just on the floor. You can do it on your knees. You can put your baby on your chest, on his tummy, and talk to him. Sometimes I've had parents tell me they'll put the baby on tummy time on the floor, but there's nothing to look at, and they're on this hard floor. And you know what? Try different ways. Put the baby on the couch.
And do it different times. And, when your little one starts to get dysregulated, then, of course, pick them up and do it again later.
Right.
But it's a big thing that we like to promote because it really does build their core.
It really does. And there's no time. You don't have to have the baby down there for 10 minutes. You can do it for 3 minutes. You can do it for 1 minute. And then, as Hindi says, try it again. Well, we are up to the end of the show. I can't believe it. Again, my guest is Hindi Zeidman. She invented the Ollie Swaddle, and I will put her information on my website. If you want to go to hers, it's theollieworld.com. You have to see this. It is great. You know what? Every new parent should have this. If grandparents should have it too, if the baby's going to be staying there. But you have to see the pictures. It's really great. Or go to YouTube and you'll see my dog swaddled. Work for him.
You have to see that. That you have to see.
Anyway, thank you so much for being on the show. You have a great rest of your day in that 70-degree temperature out there in California. And I will talk to you. It was
an honor and a pleasure to be part of this. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thanks, Hindi. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, you too. Bye.
Wow, what a wonderful guest. I cannot wait to have an Ollie Swaddle when I have my grandson because I just love it. Also, next week's guest is going to be Rita Eckenstein. She's a PhD, a noted psychologist and pediatric neurophysiologist, and the author of this great book called Not What I Expected, Help and Hope for Parents of Atypical Children. And we're going to find out what the spectrum is for atypical children, and it's going to be such an eye-opening show. I mean, this book is amazing, and Rita's amazing, and I know you'll be very interested because it's a topic that is not talked about a lot, but anyway, we can always learn. So I hope you can tune in next week. Put it on the calendar. It will actually be April 1st, and it's not going to be a joke. It's not April Fool's. I will have a guest. Also, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Check out my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, if you need some help. I'm giving 20% off spring special for my consults, and I'd like to leave you today with a little humor. As a mom said, Martha Stewart would choke on her craft supplies if she saw how I wad up a fitted sheet. Boy, those fitted sheets are hard to fold. I know that. And finally, you know you're a mom if you just love those 12 seconds when all the laundry is done. Boy, isn't that the truth. Anyway, I'm so happy you could tune in today. Have a great rest of your week. And remember, it's springtime. When the sunshine comes out, get those little ones outside, play a game, take a walk, enjoy each and every minute. Thanks so much for tuning in today. You have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.